Good morning, everybody. Coming to you live from inside my truck. This is Jeff from the Muddy Acres Homestead, and I got emailed the fur report, the fur market from the Iowa fur sale that was on Saturday, and yeah, I'm just going to give you the results. For raccoon, finished raccoon, they had 255 coon. Average was 767. They had 1,475 green coon. Average was $3.11. Kind of a sidebar. Traditionally, down at the Iowa sale, the green coon or your smaller coon, your large, your X large, your mediums if there were any, and then bring like quarter, 50 cents, 75 cents. So that really drives that average down. I watched the sale and. I believe like the 3X coon, 4X coon that were green, they were bringing, $6, $7, $8 still. So that number is kind of skewed when you got a lot of small larges, for a quarter. On to the coyotes. They had 100 finished coyotes. Average was $14.41. And I do know there was a couple or a few that came from out west. Guy donates them for the Iowa Trappers Association, so that kind of raised that average up a little bit. So I wouldn't call that a true Iowa average, with some western coyotes in there, but it is what it is. They had 101 green coyotes, and the average was $4.04. So that's a little more indicative of an Iowa green coon. Probably the same out here in New York, Pennsylvania. I would imagine, $3-4 for a green coon is probably about average. Okay, on to the muskrats. It's 619 finished. Nope, take that back. Yeah, 619 finished raccoon or muskrats, and they averaged $1.74. They had 54 green muskrats, averaged $1.62. Kind of disappointed in that number. Seems a little low to me. Wish I was there. I probably would have bought them all. But, tough market. I understand. But that still seems, about $1 average low in my opinion. Mink. There was 100 finished mink. Average was $10.96. Now, it's not broke down as to male or female. You can kind of, guess that the average male was probably $12. Average female finish was probably, $7, somewhere in that range. There was only one green mink unfinished, and it brought $8. I do remember there was just one carcass mink also, and it brought like, $10. I don't know. A few guys bring things for taxidermists there. I didn't really write them down because it kind of throws a wrench into it. And sometimes they're an odd color. I know there was some cinnamon coon that brought, little carcass coon. They were small, but they brought like $5. I think one brought 10. Okay, let's go to the bobcat. They had two finished bobcat, brought $34.25 on the average. There were two green bobcat, brought $53.75. I'm sure them had the paws on them still, so somebody could either taxidermy them up or a nice wall hanger. They had 15 bobcats on the carcass meant for the taxidermy trade, and they brought $60 average. I do know they had one that went up over like $150, or right at $150. So there was some 30. Quite a range on them carcass bobcats because, frankly speaking, in Iowa, they're a real mousy brown looking on top, and spots aren't the greatest. I've seen some nice ones, but on the average, the Iowa bobcats are, not that great. I think the original restock from them come from Arkansas. We traded them for wild turkeys back, in the 80s or 90s, whenever it was. Okay, on to the beaver. Beaver numbers are way down this year. They had 21 finished beavers, average of $8.95. There was 94 green beaver, average $4.76. Huge drop from last year. Huge drop in numbers and price. They did have one bag of castor, threw it on the table, sounded like it was frozen, probably green frozen. It brought $11. They didn't have a weight on it, but when they emailed me the list here, that said it was 7 ounces. So I'm not sure, because when they ran across the table, it said, they said no weight, or not weighed. Okay, they had some possums there. They had 25 finished possums. Average was 264. Yeah, not bad for a possum, I guess. I didn't really see if they were big or small or what, but they had 20 green possums, brought a quarter apiece. I know some of them were black possums. Just one guy pretty much said, "I'll give you a quarter to get them off the table." Didn't really want them, but just wanted to keep the auction moving. There was 6 finished gray fox, and I recognize the name. And I'm sure these were brought from down south or out west, and they were $21.66 average, which is pretty good for a gray fox. But like I said, I think they were western fox, so they are worth a little more over there. We don't have many gray fox left in Iowa, so most of the guys there's a bounty on them. DNR comes out, collars them or whatever if you catch them alive, and they give you $400 for helping them out. But I know a lot of guys don't even take the 400. They take it and tan it, hang it on the wall, just because there's very few. I only caught one in Iowa back in the early 90s. And, I sold it back then for like, $35, I think, back then days. But I didn't realize how rare they were. Let's go to the skunks. They had 70 finished skunks, stretched and dried. Average was $13.75. Pretty good. They had 101 green skunks. Average was $15.13. The green brought more than the finished, but some of the guys' finished ones were, smaller, not wide stripes. The guys that brought them in green wanted people to see the stripes and how big they were, get a better look at them. And they were better skunks. Some of the skunks brought a little over $20. There was a lot of them stopped right at 19. So there was some pretty good market on them skunks. Going to the red fox. 39 finished red fox, $12.29. They had 10 green red fox, $9.20. On the finished fox, I know there was one or two from out, up northwest. Somebody brought in for donation, and they brought like $25, so it kind of skews, a true Iowa average. I would say an Iowa average is going to be $10, probably like it is, around here. PA, New York. Badger, they had 7 finished badger, $31.28. They had 3 green badgers, $26. There was 2 carcass badgers, $27.50. I wish I was there. I need badgers. I have people wanting badgers. So if anybody's watching this and they have badgers, get a hold of me. I'm looking to buy a few badgers. Okay, on to the otters. There was 6 finished otters, $41.33. There was 7 green otters, $24.28. There was 9 carcass otters for $29.77. That's pretty much the range I thought they would be in, $25 to $35. So some of them went a little higher, but that's about what I expected. They also had a few, oddball things. There was some neutral rats there somebody brought from down south. I think they brought $3 a piece finished. Quite a few squirrel tails, 70, 80 squirrel tails. They averaged, up in the 30 some cents. I didn't write them down, but most of them brought a quarter. They did have like 3 or 4 just skinned out, nice, red fox squirrels, and they brought like $3.50 a piece. So somebody needed them pretty bad for some reason. I don't know what it was. and I wasn't there to see them. They might have been skinned out for taxidermy. I don't know if they had feet on them or what. Some of the taxidermists might have bought them up to mount them. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else they had. I had a bunch of beaver tails there. They only brought 10 cents a piece, which was way down, way down. I remember they used to bring $1 a piece. I think last year they were bringing 50 cents, and now they're down to like a quarter and 10 cents. So I think your lure makers are, throttling back on making beaver lure because the value of the beaver are dropping. And, hopefully we can bring that back. But if you guys have any questions, for handling, drop me a message. If you guys want to see fur demos, I'm gonna do fur demos. I'm gonna do fur grading. I'm so busy right now, just moving out here to New York and building a house. But I'm taking requests on videos, and I can try to help you guys out as much as I can. Been trapping 43 years. I used to work for one of the largest fur buyers in the Midwest, Ludi Shedda, back in Iowa. Bought fur, back in Iowa, and going to be buying fur out here in New York. So here to help everybody out. Our passion and our hobby is, maybe I'm optimistic, but I can see a glimmer of hope and a glimmer of light there, and I'm hoping we can get it up to where it kind of pays for itself. I mean, most hobbies don't pay for themselves. How much money do you make get a kickback on for going golfing, or God forbid you have a ski boat, trying to run a ski boat all summer, and maintenance on them and the fuel is ridiculous. So at least we're doing something we love. We're doing something that helps the environment conservation wise, and we get a little pays for our gas, we hope. End goal right now, just hanging on, is paying for our gas. So yeah, that's going to be it for this one. If you haven't subscribed to the Muddy Acres Homestead, go ahead. I will be doing homesteading videos this spring. Some gardening, some soil work, just fence building, stuff like that, hatching chicks, raising lambs, all that good stuff, processing. So if you're into that, make sure you subscribe. We'll begin to that this spring. So until then, happy trapping.